Let's go on a tour of an actual evaluation plan. My name is Shelby Corley. I am an evaluator with 3 Hive Consulting based in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. The plan that I will show you today was for an organization called the Reach Edmonton Council, and their mission is to enhance community safety. This program brought together several different organizations within the city who were all focused on delivering services to immigrant and refugee youth. The services that are focused on in this initiative are out-of-school time programming. So that is programming that's delivered after school and during the summer break. Now, an evaluation plan can seem overwhelming if you're not familiar with them. There are lots of different templates available, each of which may point you in a somewhat different direction in terms of formatting, which components are included. So I thought it would be helpful to show you what we included in this evaluation plan. Our table of contents shows that we start with a bit of background, move into some programming overview, review the evaluation history, define the purpose, use, and focus. We include a stakeholder matrix because there were so many organizations involved in this initiative. The data collection plan will show us what we need to collect and how and from who. Project ethics outline any potential ethical risks and how we're mitigating them. Reporting products defines what we are producing through this evaluation, and then references for any literature cited. So let's start with this background page. You'll see that it is only one page, and it doesn't even fill the whole page. My approach to background sections, overview sections within an evaluation plan are to ensure that it provides a basic overview, but it certainly should not be the only program or the only document that describes a program. There should be a much more detailed description of the intent of the program, what it does, who it serves, how it does that in other documents. Our evaluation plan does not need to duplicate those, but it does need to provide some context and some guidance for what we do. In the programming overview, again, we stayed fairly simple. We included some description of the organizations that are involved, and really just focused on the fact that they are all delivering out-of-school time programming for immigrant and refugee youth. And each of these programs has a somewhat different focus, but generally they relate to academics, culture, and recreation. From then we move into the evaluation history. So this organization had undertaken a couple of other evaluations of this and similar programs in the past. So we wanted to reference the fact that evaluation is not new here. And with our purpose and use, we highlighted the fact that this evaluation wants to tell the story of what's happening within the programs and to what extent it's making a difference in the lives of youth. This initiative was somewhat novel in bringing together so many different groups, and so everyone involved, including the funder, was interested in what happens when you bring everyone together to share resources, to facilitate conversation, and to work together to achieve a common goal. The funder also wanted to make sure that there was a financial element involved in this evaluation. So under the evaluation focus, you'll see that we start with describing the program, and then we move on to outcomes for children, youth, and families. We focus on collaboration between the programs, and the final focus area is a social return on investment analysis. So in what follows in the data collection plan, we will elaborate on each of these different focus areas. The stakeholder matrix was important for us to include here because we needed to know who we were serving and what their involvement in the evaluation would be. So this matrix takes up 2 pages. We begin with Reach Edmonton Council itself and describing who within Reach we are serving, what their purpose and use might be. So we've said in this evaluation plan that for Reach, the purpose of doing evaluation is accountability as well as advocacy. If this works well, they want to use these findings to be able to advocate for funding and capacity to deliver similar programming or to keep delivering this particular program. The nature of involvement is important to clarify. So we developed the entire evaluation plan in close collaboration with REACH and the organizations who were partnering in Bridging Together. For REACH Edmonton Council, their involvement in the evaluation would be to inform, review, approve, resource, and implement the evaluation, receive and review the reports, and then support the implementation of recommendations. I really like including that line to help point us toward use and the fact that we are doing this evaluation really to support enhanced learning and data-driven decision-making. We want these results to be used. For the partner organizations, you'll see there's quite a long list of groups involved. For them, their involvement is really around collaborating on data collection and reviewing the recommendations for potential quality improvement opportunities that they can implement within their own organizations. We also note that the funder has a role to play here. Really, that is for accountability. There is some academic and research connection in terms of knowledge mobilization. And our program beneficiaries, of course, children, youth, and their caregivers. Their involvement really is to participate in data collection and then be the audience for findings that are shared in a more user-friendly format that will be posted on the REACH Edmonton Council website. So here's the most interesting stuff, of course, our data collection plan. We've divided this into, again, the 4 different focus areas and defined different evaluation questions that will help us to tell the story as it relates to each of these focus areas. So the first question, what makes each program unique? Our indicator that we use to answer that question, obviously there's more than one, but we really want to describe the program. So we want to give them a description of the target participants, the target catchment area, what region or area of the city are they serving, what the goals and outcomes are of each program. As I noted earlier, they were different, and so some would be more sport focused, some would be more academic focused, some would be more culture focused, but most have elements of all of those different components. For who are the program participants, then we want to take that next step to say, okay, these are the youth who did show up, and how we can describe them based on the available program data. You'll notice there's a column in here for timing. And so many of these elements we do throughout phase 1 and phase 2 of this evaluation. And the responsibility column just identifies who is going to be involved in actually going out and getting that data. Our final evaluation question here is around the extent to which children, youth, and caregivers are participating in the program. So we want to know, are children coming once in a while? Are they coming all the time? And then that participation leads us to the outcomes that we expect to see. So we begin with the extent to which programming is making a difference in the lives of children and youth. Our indicators here are survey scores for lots of different domains here: healthy relationships, self-efficacy, integration into Canadian society, some elements of academics, and then their perceptions of how programming has impacted their lives. And we do that through a more interactive, arts-based child and youth feedback sessions that we held with our summer programs. We want to know to what extent the programming is making a difference in the lives of family. Providing out-of-school time care not only serves children, but it serves families in that caregivers are then able to participate in paid labor or educational opportunities. So we wanted to capture a perspective from the family members as well, and we did that through a family survey. Our program partners helped us to make sure that those surveys got sent out to families, and they were also involved in making sure that they got completed, not just sent out. Our final question in this focus area is the extent to which programming is making a difference to society. You'll recall the focus of the REACH Edmonton Council is to enhance community safety, and so we chose a couple of measures that could speak to that. Intention to complete high school. So we know that youth who complete high school are less likely to be involved in criminal activity. And then we wanted to know from the youth themselves what their involvement in criminal activity or gangs might look like. Our third area of focus is on collaboration amongst the partners, including Reach Edmonton. So we approach this through a social network analysis survey, which would give us some information around the extent to which they are collaborating and the role that Reach plays in making a difference to collaboration. So if you're familiar with social network analysis, you'll know that you get a density score, a degree of centralization, or a trust score from the tool that we used, at least. We supplemented the survey with partner interviews so that people could provide us with more detail about the way that they're collaborating with each other and with Reach, and what benefit they see from that. That was our third question in this focus area. And then finally, we completed a social return on investment calculation. The indicators that we used for this were not only the dollars that are provided through different funding, but also the in-kind costs. So many of these programs operate on volunteer hours. So through our through our social return on investment calculation, we assigned a dollar value to those in-kind costs. We assessed the value that comes from child, youth, family, and collaborative outcomes, and used all of that information to come up with a return social value for every dollar invested. This involved a lot of work from the finance department at Reach, as well as from the program partners. This level of detailed information was particularly challenging given the fact that many of these organizations receive funding from multiple sources, and some of those funding sources, some of that funding is directed to multiple programs. So to pinpoint the precise costs of participating in this program itself was not easy for the program partners, for sure. Once defining all of the different elements that we're going to be collecting, we wanted to put a timeline together. So we did this in 2 different phases, identified the components that would be included in each phase, what the activity was, and what dates we anticipated we would be collecting those pieces of information. Project ethics is important in evaluation, as we all know. We did not require a research ethics board approval here. Instead, in our area, we have access to a project ethics ethical review process called ARECI. You can look up that acronym and it will bring you to the Alberta Innovates website that hosts 2 different decision support tools, as well as a second opinion review process. So within our evaluation plan, we documented which components of this evaluation would present the most ethical risk and how it is that we are mitigating those strategies. We defined our reporting products. So for each year, we had a draft report and a final report, as well as a sense-making session with the program partners so that we could get their feedback on the data and then incorporate their reactions to that data, their perceptions, their insights into the conclusions and recommendations that were developed. And then our final page is just references. We reference different literature in our background section, so of course we need to make sure that we're documenting those. So I hope this has been a helpful introduction to an evaluation plan. There are certainly many templates out there that you can access. We host an evaluation plan template on a website called Eval Academy. You can search that up and find a template available for download there. Thanks for sticking around. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to reach out to me. You can find me on LinkedIn, and you can find me through the 3 Hive Consulting website. My name is Shelby Corley. Thank you very much.